Welcome to Talent Freaks with Andy Coon. I'm Andy, a filmmaker and photographer based in the Bay Area of California. This podcast delves into the journeys of creative individuals who inspire curiosity and impact through their work. In this episode, we're revisiting a fascinating conversation from 2008 with Seth Mendelson and Joseph Barron, the creative minds behind the acclaimed web series, Take Me Back. At the time of this interview, their series was making waves on Vimeo for its polished storytelling, exceptional cinematography, and innovative approach to online entertainment. We dive into how Seth and Joseph conceptualized and brought Take Me Back to life, their filmmaking backgrounds, and the challenges of creating high-quality content with limited resources. And I just went to Vimeo.com, and it's still up there 16 years later, and it is fascinating. The only problem is the quality is at 240 pixels, which sucks. But that's what happened back in the day, 16 years ago. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe and rate Talent Freaks on your favorite podcast platform. It helps others discover these inspiring stories, and I'm incredibly grateful for it. So let me take you back to, see what I did there, to the year 2008, and let the younger version of me introduce you to Seth Mendelson and Joseph Barron, the creators of Take Me Back, the web series. And I stumbled across their web series when I was perusing Vimeo's channels and came across a really cool video. And that was chapter 4 of Take Me Back. So I went back to the website, checked out chapter 1, 2, 3, and then I watched 4 in its entirety and was really blown away. Ever since then, every week I've been updating and watching each episode, and it's really well constructed, beautifully shot. The cinematography, the acting, everything about the piece is very well polished, and these guys have something that they should be really proud of. I am. Shit, I wish I could have done something like that well. So I asked if they'd like to come on board, and they agreed. So here's our conversation. Hey, thanks for joining me. I know you guys have been really busy, and today is the final day of your show. So
it is.
Mad props for coming on and doing this.
Well, thank you. Thank you. We're certainly happy to. It's our pleasure. We love talking about ourselves. To know.
So tell me about Take Me Back. Like, how did you guys come up with this concept?
It's a good question. I don't know, Joe?
Yeah. So are we doing this now? I have no idea what's going on here.
The format is, it's called Conversation with Kuso. There's no specific interviews, no format. It's just kind of sitting back, talking, relaxing, getting to know each other.
Are you gonna edit out all the naughty words?
Nah, I love the naughty words. That's part of the whole shtick. Okay,
well, we'll try and throw in a few extra ones for you somewhere in there. So we let's see. I don't know. I was living in Scotland with my girlfriend just over a year ago. She was doing her master's there, I went. I don't know what my goals were, but I think I had hoped to find some sort of work, and I failed miserably. So in my failure, I thought it would be a good idea to come up with something else to keep myself busy. And essentially, I called Seth one night after reading an article about web auteurs, I guess, young folks like ourselves making videos for the internet and doing pretty well. And I saw the article and thought, hey, we can do that. Called them up. Pretty late at night, and sort of pitched some idea, and I don't remember exactly what the pitch was, but it was very different.
The pitch was very simple. It said, Seth, I'm coming back to Montreal, coming back to Canada, and we're going to make some videos for the internet. That was the pitch. And
yeah, well, I didn't mention the part about it taking 16 months to pull off. And
no, it was originally supposed to be something really simple. Like, we'll just, shoot some stuff every week and put it online, and it'll be better than the crap that's out there. It turns out it actually takes a bit of work, though.
So what's your experience before this? Did you have, you said, I read that you guys enjoyed making films, but you said they were lousy, so
Yeah, some of them were lousy.
Yeah, that little blurb of a bio or whatever you'd call it. I went to Concordia University, which is a school here in Montreal that offers a film program, and Seth went to Ryerson in Toronto. So we have, I guess, a formal education in film production for whatever that's worth.
Yeah.
Not that much, some people would argue, but you certainly get certain skills or develop certain skills, and you get more comfortable with equipment, and most importantly, meet other people that you can work with. So,
which unfortunately didn't help us at all because we were the only people that we worked with on this for the most part.
But you also find who you're comfortable working with, like I guess you two found out.
Yeah, well, we'd worked together before on, as we said, pretty crappy projects. Nothing that we'd ever want to show anyone.
No, we've burned all of our previous movies together. We had a big fire and shot it all up in flames there, just to make sure no one ever sees those again. Nothing we're that proud of, like you said. But we've worked before together. We've worked separately. We've done some short films. Seth has directed a couple of documentaries as well, and I've DP'd some stuff. So we have a bit of a range of experience behind us. Not that much. We're not we don't consider ourselves professionals by any means, or not yet rather. But we're working towards it. So.
Well, I could honestly say, watching your guys' videos, you will be called professionals very soon because the look is so clean, and your composition is amazing. The way the cinematography is just stunning throughout the whole film. So,
thank you.
You guys can now stand up tall and be like, yeah, we can do anything. Because honestly, I've seen a lot of videos online, and this is probably some of the best shot stuff online that I've ever seen.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. That's something that we realized we had a bit of an advantage over a lot of other people making videos online, and I think it's a bit of an interesting venue, I guess, showcasing your work online, because the standards are very different, or the standards for viewers anyway are very different, and it's hard to know exactly what they're looking for. So we felt that would give us a leg up. Is that an expression? I guess so.
Yeah,
something like that. A foot up, an arm up. Who cares? That we'd have a bit of an advantage over other folks doing similar projects because, again, we have a bit of experience in that, and we're pretty hardworking, and we didn't have very much equipment or much of a crew, but we busted our asses to make it look the way that it did, and we put a lot of effort into the production design and locations and costumes and all that, which all helps with cinematography for sure.
Mm-hmm. We treated it essentially like as if we were to make a film. And of course, there had to be some compromise. It's going to be a web series. Is a web series good or is it film good? That's a conversation we kept having on set. And to us, a lot of the time it was just web series good, meaning that, okay, well, at least it stands up.
Yeah, basically, whenever there was any sort of problem or if something didn't work out, we'd kind of brush it off as, oh, don't worry, it's just for the web. But ultimately, we tried to sort of take things as far as they can go, quality wise, just to make something that stands out, because it's pretty hard to be seen online.
Well,
it's easy in the sense that everyone has access, and you can get yourself out there without a distributor, but it's hard at the same time because there's so much out there.
Yeah, that's true. And why did you guys choose Vimeo?
It was a long, arduous process, but it essentially offered us two things: one, good quality, and two, we could show it in widescreen, true widescreen.
Yeah,
I prefer Vimeo also. It's just also the community there is so much more filmmaker friendly.
I was going to say that as well. It's actually a pretty amazing little community. It's certainly not as big as some other sites, but you don't get all the mind-numbingly stupid, racist, sexist kind of remarks that you get on YouTube or Break or whatever it is. So I like that actually quite a bit about Vimeo. There's amazing stuff on there. It's incredible if you look around. There's
it's a nice surprise.
So
and
many...
they also show stuff in HD too, which unfortunately didn't help us, but helps us when we watch other things.
What kind of camera did you shoot with?
We shot on the HVX 200, the Panasonic.
Nice.
Which I spent my life savings on right before this project to buy it, so that we wouldn't have to worry about renting equipment and we can sort of shoot whenever we want. And in the end, I spent so much on the camera that we couldn't afford the P2 cards, so we actually shot it on mini DV, which was a bit unfortunate. But we realized after the fact that we actually could not have shot it on P2, even if we had the cards, because we didn't have an assistant camera person or the time ourselves to dump the footage at the end of the day. There was no way we would shoot until 4 in the morning. I would drive home, with my eyes half closed, and then get up 2 hours later and we'd be shooting again. So it's a bit of a shame this time around, but again, for the web, I don't think there's that noticeable difference.
No, not at all. And another thing was weird. It seemed like it was actually a different format than 16:9.
It was 235.
235,
yeah.
Okay. And you have that option on the camera?
No, we cropped
just
it.
cropped
We
it,
actually shot it for 16:9, and then being pretentious, we decided 235 was much prettier.
Well, it stands out. It definitely does. It looks a lot better than 16:9. That makes sense.
Well, the wider the better. Our next project, we're going to do like 5:7:3:1 or something like that. I'm just going to keep stretching it until there's a thin line of pixels running across the middle of your screen, and
makes it more mysterious that way and epic.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. we're trying to break some new grounds here, and push the envelope a bit further.
So what about on your website? You have this support us. How successful has that been, or is it just kind of there to, be like, hey, help me out if you can?
Well, we a big part of this project was when we conceived it was thinking about how we can make a few bucks off it. It hasn't really happened yet, but we've had a few different ideas. There's advertising, obviously, but you need some pretty heavy traffic to pull anything from that. And there's DVD sales, which are right around the corner. And sort of our last-ditch effort was, hey, why don't we just throw on a support us section and let people donate to the cause, I suppose, if they want to. So we threw that up, and we've gotten a couple donations here and there. Actually, it's always a bit of a pleasant surprise when someone sends us $50 or whatever it might be. It helps us maintain the site, for one thing. It helps out for sure. It hasn't paid off the budget, but
and that'll take a while.
Now, is the budget part of the camera expenses, and did you pay the crew and cast, or was this all
we paid
pro bono?
Some people. We paid. The actors didn't get anything. The crew didn't get anything. We obviously didn't get anything yet, in parenthesis. But we paid. For the original score by Darren Fung, we
which
paid
is amazing.
him.
That was a good choice.
Really, he was horribly underpaid and overworked, but he did a very, very good job. We're really happy.
But not nearly as underpaid and overworked as we were. So
so we don't feel so bad. No, and we paid the musicians, and we paid the Kyle Stanfield, who was our sound designer, mixer guy, and again he was underpaid and overworked. It sort of
depends, I think, when you're working on this scale. It depends on how well you know people. And sort of what's in it for them, I think, to work on this. Some people just enjoy the experience. Oftentimes, favors are owed for previous projects, and conversely, we will now owe people favors for future projects.
Exactly.
And then other times, when you want a job done well, and I suppose the artist you're looking for is irreplaceable, then you've got to be willing to put at least a little bit aside just to show your appreciation, I guess, for their work.
Now, what would you guys do if a distributor came to you and said, "We'd love to distribute this film, but you have to take it off the internet"?
We'd love to take their money.
Yeah.
So you're just like, okay,
no questions asked.
We're actually we're sort of looking around now and speaking to a few different people. I don't want to say any names because we don't really know too many names at the moment. But we're looking into that as an option. We think that it's good enough to get more hits than it's gotten with the right right promotion.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to find someone or a company who might be interested in doing that. So for sure, that's definitely an option. It would be amazing for us to be able to pay off the budget and make a few dollars off this, since we've spent so much time unpaid working on this project.
It's a full-time job for like a year and a half, so it'd be nice to get something back.
Well, one of the most I know this. I'm trying to put together a web series, and it's one of the most frustrating things because you have to work on the cast, the crew, everyone's free time. You have to pretty much wait on. And I'm lucky because I just finished working on an independent project with a couple of friends of mine, and it's actually gone to cons and sold at the film market over there. And
congratulations!
So, thanks. And one of the things is that I just did what you were talking about by working with them for free, so they owe me a lot.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can start making a run, because I think our due date to have everything finished is June 30th, so it's right around the corner. But once it's finished, I'm going to start getting on to Corporate Assassin. But the thing that I see, isn't it frustrating to have all this stuff and just wait each week? Or didn't you just want to put it up there? And the patience you have must have been...
No, it's actually, I think the patience is on the other end. I think the patience lies with the viewers.
Sure.
For us, that part of it, the process was very easy. And I think it's a major part of the fun of it all is building that anticipation and building up a viewership as well. And what that allowed us to do was speak to people, get the word out there. We've had a pretty big slew of write-ups in blogs and a couple of newspapers, and we've done a radio interview here in Canada. And the more time you have to do that, the better chance, I think, of building up an audience you have. So that actually helped us quite a bit.
We wouldn't have gotten as big of a response, I don't think, if it was just a feature film put online.
Yeah.
Or in festivals either, obviously.
I agree.
It's pretty exciting, actually. I think it's a very different format than what we're used to. Essentially, what it boils down to is that it's kind of a scaled down TV series.
Yeah.
One that's far more doable and easier to pull off with a small crew and budget. And at the same time, you get that satisfaction on a small scale, and it's very gratifying to know that we did build up an audience of people who were eagerly anticipating every new chapter, and it's fun to see the comments and read what people are saying, and so I think that's a very big part of it. The anticipation for us was not such a big deal. I mean, we've had so many other things to deal with while this has been going up. It's been nice to just have that routine there, that every Sunday night we sit down, have a little chat, post the new chapter, send out a newsletter, and see what happens, and then get back to our lives in between.
That must. So, is either one of you married or have girlfriends?
We're both taken. Not married, but yes, we both have girlfriends. My girlfriend is actually...
We're not fully taken, but we're close.
Mostly, yeah. My girlfriend's sleeping in the other room now.
Excellent. And so
we're both sick.
That's great that they obviously understand your dedication and time,
Yeah.
And everything you put into that. So. Yeah,
it's a tricky kind of project because it's very it's very trying on many things. I think on relationship and obviously work if we were employed. So in our case, you have to find a balance, I guess, between working on something that you're passionate about and then trying to still carry on a normal life on the side. And it certainly is not impossible by any means, but it's, it can be difficult at times, but
Sure.
Worked out pretty well in the end, I would say.
Who was your inspiration as far as filmmaking is concerned?
That's a very good question. You mean
Uwe Boll, I think, maybe.
Yeah, he's a big inspiration.
Joel Schumacher, was that it? I don't know who. What about you, Seth? Those were my inspirations.
Yeah, it's all me. I inspired myself. It's the man in the mirror. I don't know. We get this question a lot, and we never really know how to answer it. We've both seen a lot of movies, and
Sure.
We like a lot of similar directors, like Coen Brothers, Woody Allen.
I was going to say, you guys, it looks very Coen-ish just by how you have a lot of wide, shots and steady, lockdown shots on tripod, and it just looks so pretty.
Huh.
Well, any day that I'm compared to Roger Deakins is a good day for me. So
No kidding.
No, we never actually sat down and said, okay, so what's this going to be like? Is it going to be like, a Coen Brothers film
Sure.
or, Woody Allen? It just sort of kind of happened organically. We've seen tons of movies, and we just sort of wanted to make something that we'd want to see, and hopefully other people would like as well. Now that we get all these comparisons to, some seem random, some don't seem. Comparisons to Saw, neither of us really care for Saw at all.
I've never seen any of them.
Yeah, we get compared to Lost. I've never seen Lost.
But then we also get compared to shows like Arrested Development, Twin Peaks, that kind of work, and I think that's.
I take that more as a compliment than.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
We weren't necessarily influenced, or at least we certainly weren't directly influenced by that. It's been years since I've seen Twin Peaks, and I actually hadn't seen Arrested Development until after we shot the project.
Same here. Yeah, but it's a bit of a frustrating question. Not because I don't like the question. I do. It's nice to hear where people are coming from, but I think it's very difficult for us to boil it down to one or even a few names. Like Seth said, we watch a lot of films. We both went through film school, so we've seen everything, or a good range of everything, old and new, local, foreign, independent, who knows, black and white, silent, color, talkies, the range. And I think from that, as you're watching, you're constantly absorbing certain elements that you admire,
Sure.
and finding things in these projects and in their directors that you aspire to not emulate, but certainly find your own equivalent to, I guess.
I love that answer, because that's exactly how we shot our film. There wasn't a specific director that we liked, but it was all of our experiences watching films and what we liked, and what angle would tell the best part of the story.
Yeah.
And what images would also tell the best part of the story. So, you make your own, so now this is yours, it's not anybody else's that you stole, but it's,
Yeah.
it's a prop to all the people that you've watched growing up and appreciating how they've told stories.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's important, and I guess it sort of is a matter of finding your own voice, right? I know that sounds a bit cheesy, but my teachers, I was in art school for a few years, and my teachers used to always talk about this idea of kind of finding your voice as an artist and discovering who you are and what your own particular style is, and I don't think I ever found mine, actually. That's why I went into cinema. But it's something that happens gradually. The more projects you do, the less you start copying what you see, and the more you start developing your own techniques and look, and you figure out over time how you want to tell a story. And like you're saying, the look of the story should fit the story. It shouldn't necessarily fit your preconceived notions of what a film should look like. You should make every film to work, I think, with that particular story and find the best way to tell it.
Now, I saw at the end credits that Canadian film, they help fund some of this.
Yeah, they helped the National Film Board of Canada is a pretty old institution here, and they, by and large, they help animators and a few documentary filmmakers, and on the rare occasion, guys like us. And I think this is the first time they've ever been involved in a web series. And essentially, it is a pretty simple setup. They have a program called the Filmmakers Assistance Program, and you just apply very informally. I think we just did it through email, right, Seth? We put together a little package and sent it off. And they review it. They'll either look at your footage or on the spot, if there's money left and it sounds good, they'll give you a couple bucks to polish things off. So generally, the way the program works is that they'll give you resources. So they'll give you time in their Foley studio or music studio, or to do an online edit or whatever it is. And in our case, it was music that we needed help with, because our composer kept wanting to go bigger and bigger and bigger with the score, and we didn't have the funds to do that. So the NFB chipped in and helped us.
Yeah, they were very, very helpful.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Did you guys this is a pretty rude question, but would you guys consider, like, did you think about it, like using Chapter 10 just to be like, yeah, that's gonna be on the DVD, and just kind of leave like a cliffhanger?
I don't know if we discussed it. I thought about that at some point, but I think it's a pretty cruel thing to do to you.
It is.
But I like it in theory.
Probably alienate a lot of people.
Yeah, you might piss a few people off that way. But what we've done actually instead is we've been thinking a lot about the DVD and what we can put into it with our time and resources that are available to us now. And there's not that much available to us, but there never was in the first place with this project. So we've kind of looked at what we have and what we can do to enhance it, and in the end we decided on offering a 2-disc DVD, one with the show as it is now with the 10 chapters separately, and a second disc with the show edited into a feature film with new footage that we're shooting just for the DVD. So that's hopefully going to give people the incentive that they need to pay a few bucks to bring it home.
In addition to the other regular special features that you'd find on DVDs, like commentary and featurettes and all that amazing stuff.
Did you guys do a lot of behind the scenes?
No.
Not terribly, no. It's going to be a bit of a patch job, I think, to put that together. But we have I tend to keep the camera rolling a little too long after we finish takes, so
perfect.
There's quite a bit on the ends there, and there's a couple of fun little bloopers. There's a lot of on-set photos, and then we're going to do interviews with Seth, myself, the composer, and a few other people, and we'll see what we can put together out of that. But I think it'll be fun just to hear a bit of the story behind the project, I guess, about what went into it.
Have any film festivals reached out to you to want to show like the whole thing or part of it?
Actually, that's very interesting. We just got an email like at 5 a.m. from some festival in
Geneva.
Yeah, in Geneva, Switzerland.
Wow.
And they want us to send it in and apply. I think it's like they do web series and films, and I don't know what else, but.
You should only if you could take us too.
Well, yeah, there you go. I love that. What was I going to say? No one's approached us to screen it as a feature, because we haven't really, made that public yet, and we're not entirely sure still how it will hold up as a feature, because it was certainly designed as a series.
Sure.
And it's a bit of a strange format for festivals to show a series, I guess, in general, a web series. So it's it's possible. It's definitely a possibility that once all is said and done, we'll look into our options and see if that makes sense.
Well, last year I put together a film festival for it's like a local blogging conference here in town, and I incorporated web series or web videos because what I wanted to do was, influence people that do this kind of work on the web, and also just to show one chapter or one episode and then kind of like get the ball rolling. But it's really awkward because everyone can watch this online, so why would they come to a film festival to see it?
That's a very good question.
And it's only your audience, maybe about 50 people. But then again, it's a blogging conference, so people that are going to go to the film festival, they're all bloggers. So if they see something that they like, they're going to blog about it. They're going to start reaching out and try to do other things with it. So I'm not doing it this year, but it was I found it really interesting, and I had a couple of really cool episodes that were submitted to me. Not too many, but the couple that made it, that were just, the audience absolutely loved it.
Well, it sounds like a good idea in the theory, but I guess it's also sort of not I wouldn't say counterintuitive, but it raises a good question. Why watch something or go out of your way to see it or pay to see it or whatever the case might be when it's available online? The web has a lot of pros and cons, I think, as far as video goes, and it's untested territory still, for us and for everyone else. I know a lot of major studios are pitching in and trying to establish web studios essentially to make this kind of show, but it's hard to know. It's hard to know how well that'll do compared to TV, compared to the theater. We all love sitting in front of our computer and watching videos, but when it comes to watching something engaging like that, it's hard to know. I don't even know if I answered your question. I think I went on a completely unrelated tangent there.
That's no problem. Exactly. How dare you?
An asshole, eh? Oh, there's one of those dirty words.
Wow, 30 minutes in.
Oh God, that took way too long. Should we just get them all out now?
Yeah, just go ahead and just roll call.
Oh, I got nothing. No, sorry.
I'm sorry. You go ahead.
You go for it. I had nothing to say.
I was just pretty much going to say. So now this is done. You're going to sit back, relax. What's next for you?
I don't know how much relaxing there is.
Yeah. There's
I don't know, Seth. You wanna take this one?
Yeah, we're sort of working on. I don't know.
You sound so enthused today, Seth.
I'm sick. I told you I got a fever. I don't know what's going on with me.
Well, I'm perfectly healthy, so
yeah. No, we've been sort of working on stuff, possibly maybe another series, maybe a feature, but sort of just taking down notes and discussing stuff pretty regularly to sort of see where we're going to go next.
And there's a few options. We can work together. We can work separately. We know that we work well together, and it's hard to find that kind of working relationship with someone. So I think that we'll certainly hold on to that. And a lot of people who've watched the series are asking for more at the moment. Anyway, more Take Me Back, which I don't really think we can deliver.
No, I can promise that that's not going to happen anytime soon because, as you know, we spent 16 months and didn't get paid, and it was a very long process, and it'd be pretty difficult for us to do that again.
Yeah. What you should do is make chapter 11 actually chapter 1 and just repeat, because that's what pretty much happens all the time.
Well, then you open a huge can of worms there.
I know.
And but it's an interesting comment, because we had a lot of discussions about that aspect of the project. I don't really want to ruin anything if people haven't watched it, but about that whole aspect of the setup of the story, essentially, and what that entails and what happened before and what would happen next. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that we ever really agreed on any one answer, but we have an idea of of what the backstory is and where it might go. And that's something I'm happy if people at least think about that after watching the series.
Sure. Well, you guys left it so wide open. You could do anything you want with it. Also, with the guy that's jumping around in time, that originally came in with that. I mean, there's a whole, new story if you wanted to ever explore that.
Well,
that story would take a much bigger budget.
Yeah, we joked a lot while shooting this that if it does well, we'll do the sequel taking place far in the future or wherever this character comes from, and it would play out on a much larger scale.
Mm-hmm.
We need hundreds of millions of dollars in fancy effects and all that, but that's really not going to happen.
Well, unless you got some money you want to give us.
Fun to think of.
I'm an independent filmmaker with no job currently, so
you must be rolling in the dough.
Oh yeah, man. I just I do corporate videos and such, so I'm loving it. But
are you?
Well, no, actually I am. When I'm working, I'm doing what I love, and at the same time on the weekends when I have free time, I get to shoot on a couple of films that I'm really happy with, because like you said, I worked on some crap when I just got out of college. I did a lot of independent films in New York, got paid nothing, and they were terrible. I mean, they were just god-awful. So I realized, I was like, look, I'm spending a lot of my own time and energy on these films, not getting anything in return. Yeah, everyone said, well, you work with us, we'll keep in touch, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But they just kept pulling me in more crap. So I moved back to North Carolina, and I finished my documentary, and it turned out to be like an award-winning documentary. And
cool.
So it was.
Congrats. I think that's important. You've got to take matters into your own hands.
Exactly.
If you're confident that you have the skills and ability and talent to pull something good off, and the more that you do, the more you chip away at it, the more feedback you get, the more confident you become, and it's a huge boost in getting future projects off the ground. I find, just personally from working on Take Me Back, because of all the positive feedback, I'm far more eager now to sort of set out on an even bigger project the next time around, and bigger and better and louder and all that. So I think that's important, and and it's true. A lot of people do say that, and I've heard that a lot myself. Stick with us and we'll give you more work and so on and so forth. But the fact is, if they're shit filmmakers, then they'll probably always remain that way. And you have to come to a point, I think, where you decide that you need to get your own vision up on the screen, and that's what we're doing, I guess.
But at the same time, there are people that when they do work like this, what you guys have done, that the crew and the cast will stick together because they can feel it. They sense that it's going to be something good. And,
I don't think anyone felt that. I can promise you. I mean, the only people who might have felt that were me and Joe, and
times
we felt that before we were shooting. When we were writing, this is going to be amazing. This is great. And then once we get on set, it all started to crumble. And,
what about afterwards? What's the response from your crew or the cast?
Well, the cast actually. The cast. Sorry.
Besides
Seth. Yeah. Well, Seth emailed me and a very nice a thank you letter for giving him this great opportunity. No. The cast actually were it's a very small cast. I mean, the 3 or 4 people who are in there who aren't Seth seem to all really enjoy it, and I know one of them. The guy who plays Neil, his name is David Sklar, he's a local actor here in Montreal, seemed quite shocked, actually, and we had a feeling that it would be, because when you show up on set on a project like this, and there's a couple of scrawny kids setting out to make something for the internet, and they've got their camera there and 1 or 2 lights and no crew to speak of, and they're propping the boom up on an Apple box. When you walk onto that set, you probably aren't very hopeful, for the final product. And so he emailed us when it was done and just said that he was pretty shocked to see how it all came together in the end. And I think we sort of knew that we could pull together something pretty good, but it would be hard to tell from watching us actually shoot the thing, because it's not.
It was a mess.
Yeah, it was a mess. It was, there's nothing really that traditional about the way that it was done. And we've worked on bigger projects in the past, and we both worked on a reasonably large short film each, with a budget and a much larger crew and more equipment and access to more resources. And it's a very different kind of project for sure. So I think there's a bit of a surprise for some people to see how it came together.
It was actually a surprise for me that Joe had put together a scene from chapter 10, I think, when I was looking through the photos, and that was the first thing I saw. I think he just put it together as a test or whatever, and that was the first thing I saw, and I was like, really? We didn't shoot that?
Well, it's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing.
It's like, oh my God, I'm actually thinking. When on set, I was staring at the wall. It looks as if I'm thinking, and I'm doing
There's
stuff.
a name for that. It's the Kuleshov effect or something. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
This is going back to early film school, but you put a shot of a guy staring blankly ahead, and you put that next to a shot of a baby, and he seems compassionate, next to a shot of food, and he seems hungry, and it's just the basic concepts of editing, I guess, are pretty astounding when it comes to putting something like this together, because we had 24 hours of footage.
Wow.
And it was really, again, that's because I keep forgetting to stop stop the camera after the tape's done. But there was a lot of footage. When you're on set, everything is rushed. It feels like you're constantly compromising. You're constantly cutting corners, and you don't really know what you have. You don't always. I'm sure there are shoots where at the end of the day you think, "Wow, we got some really great stuff today." But I don't think that we ever once felt that, because we were always.
No, we felt the exact
rushed.
opposite. Especially in the first 3 days of shooting.
Yeah.
We were shooting in the apartment. I mean, that was probably the most depressing part of the whole shoot.
Well, we were exhausted, for one thing. We were tired out of our minds. We had there were some weird lines in there, some bizarre dialogue that we ended up cutting out because it was shitty, I guess. And again, without a crew and without that proper setup, it all kind of looks like crap when you're doing it on set, and then you sit down and start editing together and finding like the I guess the heart or emotion of the project at that point. That seems to be where it comes out, and it doesn't have to be the case, but there's certainly a lot to be said for editing and
music.
And music. Music, absolutely. We keep watching it through and saying to each other how thankful we are for Darren, our composer, for actually, giving this entire project some emotional weight, because we're not entirely convinced that it's there without the music. It makes a huge difference, Sorry.
No, I was going to say, it definitely does. It's funny you guys mentioned that, because I'm doing a review for this software that actually composes music for a video. Like, it reads the color structures of each individual scene, and then it comes up with this music. But the problem is it doesn't have any emotion to it. Kind of just based on colors and tempo, and you could change things up and down. But I mean, you can go in and make a couple more changes. But it helps so much when you have it, because it puts so much emotion, and it really helps the flow of each episode.
Yeah, for sure. And another thing it does is it ties the series together very nicely. When we were doing the sort of earlier edits and we had all this temp music, and it felt like a bit of a mess, and it didn't quite have its own identity yet, I guess. And when you put the score in, all of a sudden you give it this sort of, you give it all this color and all this warmth, and I think more importantly, especially in something episodic like this, it really creates this sort of thread that runs through the entire project from start to end, and changes as the story changes and as the characters' experiences change and the moods and emotions change. It's amazing. It has an incredible impact, and you have to be careful at the same time to not overuse it and not not try to beat the viewers over the heads with what's happening and how they should feel. But again, that's sort of a tricky balance to find, and I think that if you have really good material to start with, then it certainly is doable.
I just have a few more questions.
Yeah, go for it.
Seth, what
Yes.
is your experience in acting?
I was in a few after-school plays in elementary school.
And that was
That's my, and I took a directing class in university where I had to where we had to act as well, and I did a 5-minute remake of Teen Wolf with my father when I was a kid. We actually did a sequel with my brother, Teen Wolf 2.
And that's not on the internet.
No, unfortunately. And I've actually
Seth's career would be ruined if it was. So.
Yeah, no, there's really not that much acting experience.
Well, you
I used to want to be an actor, but not
did a
anymore.
really good job for the series. I mean, was this more of like convenience, or was it something that you're like, I want to be in this part?
A bit of both, but mainly the convenience thing.
Yeah, I think part of a big part of getting something like this project done is you have to look at what's available to you and see how far you can stretch everything. So that played an important role in just structuring it and building up the story and writing it and planning the entire thing. We had to look at it at the very start and say what locations do we have access to? Well, right. Seth's father owns a camera store here in Montreal, and it's a pretty old store, and there's a lot of interesting spaces in there. So we have that. We have my brother's apartment. We have obviously exterior locations. So you look at that, and you look at what kind of equipment you have, what kind of cast you have access to, and the big factor of that was who are we going to find that could possibly be willing to give up this amount of time, work 3 consecutive weeks, day in, day out, these 17-hour days on no sleep and no pay. You basically have to be crazy or really, really devoted to the project itself. And obviously, the writer and director of the project is Seth is probably both in this case,
Yes.
crazy and devoted. But it's just it's necessary. But I think it was a very good decision because it gave us a lot of freedom while we were shooting it. When no one else was available, it would just often be the two of us in the attic shooting scenes together. Yeah. And I think that we're both pretty happy with how a lot of that worked out. And most of it, yeah. Well, Seth's been getting a lot of good comments on the acting as well, and
Which is very surprising, to be honest.
Well,
Because I really wasn't happy with my work. For the most part, but then once I know, I'm sorry. No, I mean, at least at first, on set and up until we started editing, and then it was very awkward just for me to see myself. So I was never able to see it objectively.
What's really weird is like in the beginning you're really rooting for Al, and then by the end you feel really sorry for him.
Yeah,
you're like it kind of like hits a switch where you're like, this guy is a jerk.
Yeah, that's something we're actually a little concerned with. That all the characters by the end of it might seem a little hard to relate to or a little unlikable. But that's something that was a lot of fun to think about while writing it was making that switch, And there's the two Al's in there, and we certainly set it up. As though there's a good Al and a bad Al, and hopefully people will question that more and more as they get further into the series.
Right.
And in the end, it's not entirely certain where they stand.
It's true. You have to make up your own mind.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
I mean, it's not that clear. I think that's where. I think a lot of good character writing or development comes from obviously giving people as much depth as possible, and for us that was how we tried to do that, was to blur the lines between the two, and how when we're rooting for them and when we're sort of sympathetic, and when we want to see them fail, if ever.
Sure, and plus, what was it, The Matrix that said, the difference between love and insanity is you can't tell the difference between the two? I mean, not, verbatim what they said, but kind of paraphrasing. So who is Emma? Is that, whose girlfriend is that?
In real life?
Yeah.
No one's, as far as I'm concerned. But maybe she is. Who knows?
No, I just thought it'd be one of your, because all the time she spent on set, it's very easy to
yeah, no, we were pretty lucky, actually. We auditioned all the roles that weren't Seth. Essentially, we don't we don't have that many acting resources available to us. So we held these small auditions, and her name is Denai Kogaris. She's also a Montreal actress, and I'm not quite sure where she studied, but she studied acting here. We auditioned a few people, and we were very happy with her performance. She's very very focused when she's on set, and can sort of switch the character on and off pretty quickly, which was helpful to us for sure.
Well, guys, you've done an amazing job, and let me tell you, you're probably gonna, within the next few months, start getting a lot of offers, because this is a new. I mean, the way you've done things on here is it's intuitive, very inventive, and it's gonna be the next wave of entertainment online, and you did a really good job. So I wouldn't be surprised if you start getting offers from different places, and for instance, like the Four-Eyed Monsters, what they created. This is something that might fall in line with that, and so.
Yeah. I've actually never seen that. A friend was telling me about it recently, and I keep forgetting to watch it, but it sounds really, really fascinating.
Well, I watched like the first 10 minutes, and then I fell back in love with their website, because they have such a great idea what they did as far as their website is concerned, about the community and building a following, and also informing people on how to do certain things.
Yeah.
That's what really intrigued me about their film, and it's really well shot, but as far as the story is concerned, it didn't keep me involved. But
Okay.
but you guys definitely just turned on a switch and kept it going.
Thank you very much.
That's what we tried to do.
Yeah. We'll see. I don't know. Is the web the future? Who knows? It's a big question, and something that we had obviously asked ourselves a while ago when we set out to make this. And it's hard to know where we're going from here. We still love films. We love cinema, and if we can play around in that sandbox for a little while, I think we'd be quite thrilled. But there's a lot of potential in mind, absolutely.
Well, also, I'm going to pass all your information on to the people that we sold our film. I mean, they do more of like karate action films, so I don't know if it'd be really their taste.
Well, maybe we'll just add a few more.
Yeah, we are shooting some extra footage for the DVD, so we can throw in a few more explosions and maybe a couple of ninjas, a couple of boobies, here and there, and
boobies sell.
And the boobies sell. They sell huge. I mean, come on, that's. Really, I think that was our one big mistake setting out to make this project. Is
that you never saw my boobies?
Yeah, never, not once. No, unfortunately, and I was always hoping to. Really, that's the only reason I got involved with this.
And then you got so involved, you're like, damn, I forgot.
I know, that's it exactly. I just got I got too taken up with the whole process of making the movie that I forgot entirely about Seth's moves.
Thank you.
Which you probably don't actually have, unfortunately.
Well, maybe a little bit.
Hey, wait a minute, Seth. I don't remember seeing you guys kiss, Emma. And was there any kissing in this?
Nope.
Wow. As a filmmaker, you didn't even get to kiss.
Well, I have a girlfriend.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
There was a peck on the neck, and that was
the
it.
cheek,
But,
yeah.
Yeah, and we always felt. I mean, it wasn't even, I would say, because Seth's in a relationship that it's not there. It was just sort of a matter of the kind of story that we were trying to tell, and we really liked this idea that it's kind of about a relationship that never really gets off the ground.
Right.
So
that's when you become the craziest too. Like
exactly. So there's that whole idea of what could have been had it worked, and it just never got to that point. It's all about the sort of setup to that relationship and trying to get this girl interested in him, and just when he starts getting close, things begin to unravel and fall apart for him. So had it been a different kind of story, we would have seen a different kind of script. But
sure. The funniest thing, the one I related the most was when he said, you've never been in a relationship more than 10 days. Before I met my wife, that was me. I think 3 weeks was the longest relationship I was ever in.
Yeah, and you know what? It's not. I don't think it's all that uncommon either. There's a lot of people. I know a couple people myself who are kind of floating around, waiting for that person, and either they become sort of too picky or too afraid to really engage in it. I think the longer you go without being in a relationship, the harder it is to really dive into one.
Yeah.
So I'd say that Al is probably not alone in that respect, and that's something that we acknowledge is probably the case for many people. So.
Well,
so this was big to him, or would have been big, let's say.
Yeah.
Well, that's outstanding, guys. Thank you so much for taking time. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for giving us your time, I guess. And
yeah.
Oh, no problem, guys.
Thanks for watching.
And good luck with your future projects and the site. Keep us up to date on what's happening, and if you find someone who wants to buy our series for several $1 million, you know where to find us.
No questions asked.
Exactly. And enjoy the ride, guys. You've earned it, and it's really impressive. And congratulations again. And I definitely keep in touch because I definitely see bigger and better things than what's going on right now.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, thank you very, very much for everything. We really enjoy this. It's a lot of fun.
Thanks again, Seth and Joseph. I had a really good time. Hope everyone else enjoyed the interview as well. Thanks for listening to this episode of Talent Freaks. Seth and Joseph's work on Take Me Back showcases their dedication to storytelling and their ability to create compelling content with limited resources. Their journey is a testament to the power of creativity and collaboration in the evolving world of web series. To explore more of their work, visit their Vimeo channel and experience the captivating world of Take Me Back. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and rate the podcast. It truly helps others discover these incredible stories. If you'd like to get to know my work, visit talentfreaks.com to see some of the videos that I've worked on, as well as the photography that I'm currently doing and so much in love with. And if you have suggestions for future guests or topics, feel free to reach out. I'm always eager to bring new and exciting conversations to the podcast. Until next time, keep exploring, keep creating, and stay curious.